Good morning, boys and girls. Good morning, everyone. I'm so thankful to have this time with you. Well, as you know, the last couple of weeks, I told you that I started to really ask the Lord to show me some of his truths around the house because we're in there all the time. And so the first week, he gave me that chip clip, reminding me to put a guard over my mouth. And then last week, I brought the box of tissue to remind us that God understands when we're sad and that we can go to him and tell him the things that we're feeling. So when this week got around, I started to say, okay, Lord, what do you want me to teach next Sunday? Well, I have to tell you, I literally tripped over the object. Now, I don't know about you, but we have a small problem at our house. It's actually not that small. It's called shoes. There are shoes everywhere around my house. I keep trying to find places to put them. I tell them, leave them at the front door. Put them in the shoe rack. Put them at the front door. Leave them right next to the door. Put them, and I still find shoes literally everywhere I go. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes shoes are very cute. Look at this cute shoe. This is one of Sophia's little shoes, and it's so cute. But usually they're not that cute. Usually they're big, stinky, dirty shoes. And I have to tell you, the minute that I think of shoes, I immediately start thinking of what goes in shoes. Feet. Feet go in shoes. And I do have to tell you, some of the shoes at my house have to live on the front porch because they can't come in because they're too stinky. And you might be thinking, okay, it's true. Lisa's lost her mind. What do these shoes have to do with Mother's Day? And what could they possibly have to do with church? Well, actually, they have a lot to do with it. I'm going to show you right now. Because there is a verse in the Bible, in the book of Romans, chapter 10, and it's in verse 15, and I'm going to read it to you right now. And it says, "How beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news." Let me read it again. "How beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news." So here is our memory verse paper for today that I hope you will take time to color. And you might be thinking, I still don't get it. What does this have to do with Mother's Day? Well, I want to introduce you to someone. Sadly, it's only through pictures, but this is my mom, and her name is Nina. And one of the things that my mom has always done, and honestly, this is something that most moms, this is like a huge part of all that they are trying to do as a mom, is moms are always trying to teach kids. They're trying to teach kids about all kinds of things, like how to take care of themselves, how to do school, how to, make friends, how to know the Lord. They have all these things, and their big goal is to teach their kids as much as they can. Well, I want to tell you about my mom, Nina, and one of the biggest lessons that she ever taught me. When I was a little girl, my mom would always be teaching Sunday school. She would be teaching children's church. And I was always in her class. And I would ask her, I would ask her about like why she did it. And she goes, well, I just always have wanted to teach kids the good news. And one day she was telling me that when she was just 14 years old, she noticed that all the children, while their parents were going to like church and stuff, the kids were just running around and playing. And she said, I thought I should teach them about the Bible. So she would go every Sunday and she would gather the children in her neighborhood and she would take them to their garage and she would literally just take her Bible and she would teach them about Jesus. And she said ever since that day, she has always known that that was something God wanted her to do, was to teach the good news. Well, I would listen to her and I watched her example. And interestingly enough, boys and girls, when I turned 14, I remember thinking to myself, Yay, it's summer vacation. I'm going to the beach. And my mom said, anyway, about the beach. I don't think so. I was like, what? And she goes, I need you to help me go around the neighborhoods and tell the kids about Jesus. I was like, what? And I said, isn't that what you do? She goes, actually, the Bible says it's something we should all do. And so that summer, I remember teaching my first Bible lesson to children. I was so nervous, I could hardly breathe. And I even remember I was teaching the story of Cain and Abel. And my heart was beating, but all of a sudden, I looked out, and all these children were looking back at me, and they were so excited to hear about Jesus. And that day, when I was 14, just like my mom, I thought, I want to teach kids about Jesus. I want to be like my mom. And so that day, I realized that God was asking me to do what my mom was doing. And so ever since that time, I've had some other jobs where I've taught different ways, but for the most part, my whole life has been teaching boys and girls just like you about Jesus. And I get so excited when I do it. My heart just gets so thrilled. So I just wanted to take this moment to say to you that just like my mom told me that I needed to tell the good news, you also need to tell the good news. And so I want to encourage you, the next handout that you have is a handout on how you can share the good news with others. And it's just the ABCs. We actually talked about these ABCs on Easter Sunday, about admitting, believing, and confessing to the Lord. And so this has some memory verses for you that this is a great time while we're on quarantine, you could spend some time learning these verses. And that way, when you're back with your friends and family, you could share that with them and you could share the good news. But I'll be honest with you, one of the greatest ways kids can share the good news is by being kind and being loving and just actually being like Jesus to other people, because it stands out. And people go, that kid's different. Why are they different? And then you can talk about Jesus. Now, the last thing that I wanted to give you, just in case, because I know now that we're not in school, you might not have had time to make your mom a beautiful card. So I have a paper for you that you can color, and it has a wonderful verse at the bottom that says in Proverbs 31:29, many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. So this will give you a chance to tell your mom that of all the wonderful things that she does for you, that she is the very best, and she is the best mom for you. I want to say Happy Mother's Day to my mom, and I just want to thank you guys so much. And just remember, tell the good news to all that you know. See you next week.